What's up, everybody? It's Dez at KRHFT Trading, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT Podcast. I am Bunchu alongside my esteemed colleague and co-host, Chamber. Chamber, how you doing? That was maybe one of the smoothest intros we've ever heard.
Not even close. It's a top 3 out of 270 episodes.
Look, there's not too many people that get it right on the first try like that, but I think that just goes to show that Dez fits right in with us here at the REKT Podcast crew. How are you, Chamber? Before we get started,
I boycotted my local grocery store or my neighborhood grocery store, so I ventured further away. It's too long of a story. Years of malfeasance, and I don't want to talk about it.
Are there short expiration dates?
I feel like the quality of the grocery
dented
store,
canned foods.
Yeah,
or what are we talking here?
bare shelves. Sometimes, like I'll go, it's like, do you guys not get inventory anymore? Like, what's happening? And then I feel like I'm paying too much for the quality of the grocery store. Where you can go to a higher end grocery store, Trader Joe's, if you will, and pay basically the same amount. So very upsetting. I went to a new grocery store today, but because tomorrow is Good Friday, everybody loses their mind the day before a long weekend. So the new grocery store that I went to was absolutely chaotic. I didn't know where anything was. So I was hoping to be back.
This sounds like totally your fault. This just sounds like a self-inflicted
I'm just stressed out right now, man. But no, overall, I'm at about a 7. So
that's good. We have a very special guest with us today. If you've listened to us on our new show, The Mint Condition, you have definitely heard Dez before. If not, we wanted to bring him on and have him get to know the REKT crew. So we have Dez from KRHFT Trading. Dez, how you doing, buddy?
Oh man, it's an honor to be on here. I admire everything you guys do, especially for the crypto community. So, this is the thing that started it all for you guys. And I'm just honored to be on the show today and hopefully, inspire some of your listeners to maybe check out the Mint Condition. We got some exciting things over there, and they should definitely check it out.
That might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said about us.
We really gaslit them up.
That might be.
You can send your check to my address. For
Perfect. I owe you a couple Top Shop moments now when gifting returns, which may never be. But anyway, so we've got some exciting things to talk about today. We're going to get to know Dez. So Dez is interesting because if you have heard us on the Mint Condition, you know that we talk about sports and collectibles and the NFT side of all of that, how the real world and physical world meet. We did a really cool show with Zed Run this past week. But Dez kind of fits into both crews here. So he is also a crypto enthusiast as well. So we wanted to kind of bring him on, hear his backstory, and just chop it up a little, if you will. So let's start with the origin story of Dez and KRHFT Trading. So where did you kind of get your start in the whole space, in the crypto space?
Yeah, I don't think, my path is very different from many other people in the sense that, when I talk to people that have gotten into crypto and, now NFTs, they have a similar pathway. And it usually stems from some sort of maybe online sports gambling or just venturing into kind of new technology. And that's, for many people, that's what crypto was. And so I personally, was into sports gambling, and I was looking at the withdrawal process, and I could either do it to a check, e-check, or I could do it to crypto. And at the time, I think it was just Bitcoin. And I took that opportunity. I said, oh, wow, it's instant transfer. It's fast. It's something I've always wanted to be interested in. Let's just do the, crypto exchange, and it worked out perfectly. I held it for a little while, and this was a few years ago when we were seeing that previous spike, and I think I got in at maybe 5,000 per Bitcoin, and it shot up to 12 really quickly. And I was like, oh man, this is something I need to look into more. And so, of course, the timing of that with a little bit of the crash and ICO crash, it was bad timing. But as we turned into COVID times this past year, I was looking for places to reinvest some of my money. I had some capital, and I thought, you know what, the best times to invest are usually during downturns. That's when the big dogs, the whales, make their money the most. And I thought, you know what, let's look at crypto. It was at a great time, and I got in at the right time, and watched that portfolio grow over the next 6 months. And I think a lot of us who have had crypto have been more apt to jump into the NFT space, because we bought this crypto at a time where it was much lower. Now it kind of seems, I always talk about this, it kind of seems like funny money, play money, playing with the house's money. And so that's why I think it gave me the confidence to jump into some of this NFT stuff, invest in things like Zed Run, where your ETH goes a long way. And so I found Top Shot a little bit late, but fairly early, got invested in that, did pretty well. And now I am, all gung-ho on some NFTs with Chad and Joe here. I've aped into a few different NFTs that, maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have, but it's all been fun. And now I'm really high on this Zed Run platform. So that's my origin story.
The funny thing about that is you and I must have crossed paths in another life. We literally have almost the identical
It's the metaverse.
story. Yeah,
it's the metaverse. We're just the same person in different universes.
It's totally like you and I almost have the exact same timeline. I did the same thing. I was betting on sports, and same thing, cash out into crypto, and I must have literally only been a couple months before you. I think it was around $1,800 to $2,000 at the time that I got in 2017. And
how did Dez get in before me?
Look, man, it's the sport. You don't bet on sports. That's why.
I guess not.
And that's why. There you go. It's funny. It's either Chamber and I have talked about this for a while, but it's either someone has a story like us, or they got in mining Doge back in like 2013. Like those are like the two ways that people get into crypto. But I think you're totally right when it comes to the NFT craze. And I mean, I think Chamber can attest that he throws around his ETH like it's monopoly money at this point.
It's not, not, but
Chamber, you need a financial advisor, because
I was on the phone with my financial advisor. To my new financial advisor.
Is that who at Ledger Status?
No, a real certified. I guess I can't really say his name, but it's a hilarious name, which I will tell you offline. But it's the only thing I can tell you is it's the name of a very famous TV character, and I have trouble not bringing it up in front of him. I haven't brought it up in front of him yet because I feel like
Peter Griffin, financial advisor. Homer J. Simpson, financial advisor.
It's that level.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like, yes, but I was on the phone with him today. We came up with some strategies. I think that might work.
Number one, don't throw ETH at illiquid NFTs.
I said, I have a stable of horses.
And he's like, oh, that's great. I know a lot of people that are diversifying into, equine assets. And you're like, well, no, I don't think you quite understand.
Are you familiar with NFTs? Here's the Saturday Night Live sketch to highlight what it is.
By the way, I am very proud to know that I own an NFT that was featured in that Saturday Night Live sketch, which was pretty cool.
Amazing.
So shout out to Brian Brinkman, who is the artist that did the NFT that I own. I got that through the whale community drop, which was pretty cool. And he apparently did a ton of work with the whole making of that the whole making of the sketch. Like he even made, I think, some of the fake NFTs that were
really,
yeah, it was pretty. So that's pretty cool.
Cool.
I mean, you can't ask for anything better when you own NFT art, right? To be featured in Saturday Night Live with something you own.
That's crazy. To touch on what Des was saying earlier, I didn't realize people saw it in two different lights, but you were saying that NFTs and crypto kind of go hand in hand. I've always kind of I had that assumption that NFTs was just crypto. And it sounds
it was to us, like you
right.
know what I mean,
it just was crypto. Like I thought it was just crypto. I didn't realize people didn't think of it as crypto.
Well, I'll let Des give his perspective, but like to us, like there was nothing. We've always been so deep into crypto that like Top Shot made NFTs something aside from crypto. You know what I mean?
Right.
What do you think about that, Des?
Yeah, no, like I said, I personally view them in parallel. I think the community right now around crypto is actually, I would say quite a bit larger than NFTs, right? That's the logical progression for me is to get into crypto, to understand it, and then get into NFTs. I don't see too many people being interested in NFTs, going out and figuring out how to get a MetaMask and getting crypto into their wallets, and then going, there has to be some sort of progression. I think the utilization of the two is very different. That's where I agree. NFTs are essentially collectibles. Now, where it gets really interesting is to the space that we're embarking upon, which is extreme utility with these collectibles. And we'll talk about Zed Run and things like that. But when you can make money on your collecting and skill in these kind of different projects, that's where it becomes very interesting. I think hardcore people into crypto that do staking, that is a little bit different, and they may be in that space for different reasons. But like I said, I think the two are super parallel. There's no question that they're connected, and I eventually think a lot of people will cross over both ways.
I think it's so interesting because I've had friends that are, we would describe them as normies, right? Like I've had the no coiner friends that have wanted to come into crypto and, the cryptocurrency aspect, the altcoin, the Bitcoin aspect. And then I've had friends recently that want to get into Top Shot and Zed Run and some NFTs. And it's interesting to see the difference in why and who wants to get in for what reason, right? I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money and they want to be early on things, and which may or may not be the best motivation. I'm guilty of that as well, and that's sometimes led me down probably some poor decision making. But I think NFTs are something that, like for me personally, I've kind of changed my entire way that I look at my investing in crypto, because the NFT space is so much more fun to me. Like it resonates with what I like to do as hobbies or gaming or things like that. And I mean, like there's no doubt, Chamber, I'm not a good trader. Like it's not a thing. I'm not somebody who wants to like learn how to really trade. Like that was never my thing. And you say that like one of us is a good trader. I mean, it's just not my passion of crypto. You know what I mean? And I feel like I was into NFTs back a couple years ago in some aspects, not like it is today. And I think, part of it was, okay, is this ever going to take off? And I think I was a little impatient there. You know what I mean? But like all that, it's always fascinated me. I just was never as involved in it. And now you see it and I'm like, wow, okay, this is more me. You know what I mean? So what do you think about that, Chamber, as far as who kind of each of these spaces might appeal to, and because I feel like you're I feel like you're the least NFT guy of the three of us.
I would agree with that. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, we argued about CryptoPunks last week.
Yeah. And for the record, I was chatting with Ledger, and he thought that you were right in saying that CryptoPunks would hold their value over kind of the next 5 years. But I'm pretty sure he's just a bag holder, so I'm not really taking his. I'm not really taking. I'm like, I'm pretty. He's like,
I don't know if he even owns a punk.
He was talking like somebody that owned a punk. I'll put it that way.
I don't own a punk.
But he was saying that the punks would last, I think, longer than even Top Shot. So I thought that was an interesting take. I made my arguments for Top Shot, though. Yeah,
they'll be different, right? Because there's going to be more Top Shots, like even just on Flow and Dapper, right? Like, and there's still only going to be and I think this is what my point was. The historical aspect of the punk thing is a big deal, I think, to people. But so keep going on that. Like, so what is it about, NFTs
I actually want to bring up what I've been noticing. And it kind of reminds me of like generational issues that we have with like, our parents.
You're basically going to talk about how you're a boomer.
No, not well, I am a boomer, but no, not that specifically. Is what I notice with crypto people is typically that person that's been in crypto longer. You'll see a lot of Bitcoin maximalists, right? A lot of times they've been in crypto maybe prior to 2017, we'll say, and then you have this new old, the new boomer for crypto, which is people that kind of got in maybe 2017 or made a lot of money in 2017, and they're still, they didn't really get into DeFi that much. They are not getting into NFTs. So you kind of have now that's like two groups. You have like the Bitcoin maxis, then you have kind of like those 2017 maxis that are pumping particular coins or bags from that era, never got into DeFi. Now you have the DeFi people that are still Bitcoin, they still like Bitcoin, they still like the old stuff, but they're big into DeFi. They may or may not get into NFTs. And now you have NFT people, which may have done all three of those, or in this case, a lot of them are maybe new to crypto. So I find it funny as the next trend comes, we lose some of those crypto people along the way. I don't know if you're noticing that, but that's kind of what I've been noticing lately. Is a lot of quote unquote OGs are maybe sometimes a little bit more apprehensive to change in the crypto space.
Well, you kind of also want to. I mean, I not necessarily think I blame them, right? Like, you want to stay specialized. It's kind of hard to learn everything about something new, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's
the only argument I would say
there's a learning curve to all of this stuff.
100%.
Like, there's a huge learning curve in DeFi. Like, if you're,
but that's where the money is, though. In my opinion, the money is in the next thing, right? Like DeFi, you could have made money. NFT,
look, the earlier you're in, the better, right? Absolutely. I think that's why we all part of the reason why we all like Zed right now is it feels so early.
It seems like a fresh one.
Yes,
but there's going to be, there'll be something after that ideally you want to be early in. And I think a lot of people, you either go one of two ways. You either fall in love with something and you stay in that speed or in that level for as long as you want, or you're a person that sees kind of the next thing coming and tries to participate as quickly as possible. And that's what I try to do.
I feel like those people sometimes get wrecked.
That's how you get wrecked.
You guys got to use the REKT.
No, we don't have to.
Show.
It's just at least once.
It's just a recurring theme on this show is that somehow one of us is always getting wrecked. But anyway, go ahead, Des.
One of the things that I find so interesting is I was listening to Cuban talk about it as this was booming, and we've begun an era where it's no longer important to really understand. It's a very spray and pray mentality, as Cuban would put it. But just being first is now a little bit more important than having the knowledge in the background. So it's very interesting in what that does and how that can stabilize over time. But I think you're right. We're always looking for the new next thing. I do still think crypto and NFTs have a very symbiotic relationship. I was talking to you guys earlier about, having assets in both, and it gives me some sort of security. And, whenever I see the market trending up in crypto and I think, I don't have enough assets built in crypto right now, I think back and go, well, you know what? I have those same assets. They're just wrapped in NFTs right now. And as long as those go up, then I still have a good amount of crypto. And so I like that balance of it. I like kind of hedging my bets. I've always been that way as a person. And so I think if anything, for those, who are hesitant to jump into the NFT space, just look at it as an alternate investment of your crypto. So, yeah.
I do think you made an interesting point there about like what Mark Cuban is talking about as far as the spray and pray thing. I feel like that's kind of how, venture capital is, right? Like you get all these, a venture capitalist might invest in 100 companies and 2 of them hit it big, right? And they fail on all those other companies, right? And because they were early on those and because they were the ones that, invested and took the shot, they're the ones that get, that makes up for all of it, right? And I feel like some way, like crypto in this, kind of space where Chamber is talking about it, where it's, some people have made a lot of money. It allows some people, like it allows a fair bit of that. It's almost like you're your own venture capitalist at this point, right? Where you're investing in the next altcoin, or, you're investing in this NFT project, and you're being your own, like, while you're not buying shares, right? Like we're not buying shares. You're either buying assets or tokens or whatever. And we're all with all the same goal, right? Like, I don't think, Chamber, you're really investing in Sam coins for the use of Sam coins. You want to make money.
I'm just trying to catch the next, big thing.
I feel like you were fairly early on your Sam coins. I
feel like I was too. Fingers crossed.
Now we're seeing airdrops every single day. Where I think it's just,
I don't even want to talk about it. Just the fact that there are airdrops just bodes very well. I don't even necessarily want to get all of them. Just the fact that there's lots.
Well,
of them.
I'm pretty pissed I missed this Cope one. That one I'm definitely.
There was definitely some money on the table, from what I'm hearing.
It was like worth $4,000. You know how many horses I could buy with that? Like
at least one good one.
One good horse.
Maybe one good horse.
Like one good horse. Oh man. All right, let's talk about Zed Run, because we did our mint condition show on it. Where the other day we talked to the founders, but if you haven't listened, some people may not.
I'm going to drop it. I'm going to probably drop it in the on this RSS feed probably over the weekend.
Oh,
so now that you've gotten to know Des, you'll be able to hear him on our show asking intelligent questions to Zed. I was going to call him Red Run again, to Zed Run. I had to listen to the episode a couple of times. Like, did I fuck up and say Red Run?
You're going to have to. I kept messing up and saying something. I can't remember what it was now, but I kept messing. I kept calling Trav Chad. Or vice versa. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, so let's talk about like what it is and why it's interesting. Because we've talked about Top Shot on this show a bunch of times now. This is kind of the new one that feels like it's early to us. I think, when I got in, at least this is probably 3 weeks ago now, there was less than 1,000 users in the Discord, active users. The last drop, there was about 1,000 people that tried for this drop. Now there's 12,000 people in the Discord. They're dropping 2,000 horses this week. So Des, walk us through a little bit about what Zed Run is.
And I think, honestly, looking at those two platforms between Top Shot and Zed, I do feel like Zed would appeal more to the general crypto holder. And that's because I think Top Shot is very much on the collecting side, right? It's collectibles, very low utility right now. Zed is all about utility. So how can I take my money and make more money with it? within the platform.
And degen gambling, which is a lot of crypto.
Absolutely. So what it is basically the digitalization of horse racing. I mean, it does have, so a little background on me. I grew up in Southern California next to two major horse racetracks. And I've been following horse racing for my whole life, been handicapping since I was 7 years old with my dad. It's something I really enjoyed growing up. And they've taken a lot of the ethos of horse racing and digitalized it. And, it's funny because you look at horse racing as an industry, and it is a very non-profitable industry. I mean, most stables lose a ton of money. Most people are just in it for the entertainment. And we talk about inefficiencies, and that's really, where crypto and DeFi has been created from, is these inefficiencies, centralized institutions holding all the keys. This could be, and I mean Zed Run, could be a solution to all the inefficiencies going on with the physical horse racing market. And so they've taken horse racing. You can buy horses. There's a marketplace similar to an auction house in real life, but you can buy horses. You can then race them into races that have real dollar returns. So you put in your kind of stake in it. Say the race is a $50 purse race. You might have to put in $5. And the winner takes home, $30.
Now, I have a question on that. How does the $5? So you put in your $5 to race. Is there a $50 gas fee to put your $5?
No. So they've moved. There used to be, and then they've moved the whole platform over. They're moving it to Matic because of what the gas fees were. So they're moving it to layer 2 solutions. So that's why breeding is down right now, because there used to be gas fees for breeding, because it was all originally built on Ethereum. So
because on the show they were kind of hinting at gas-free breeding, right?
So yeah, when you purchase on the drop this week, it will still have a gas fee because you're purchasing an ETH. But when you are now breeding or racing, it's gasless.
And are you still using ETH though, or do you have to buy a local a token that they've created?
So you're basically using wrapped ETH on Matic or the Zed balance, which is essentially just wrapped ETH. So for your racing, when you race, your call center. Why don't you just take that? Why don't you take it right now? Take it. Oh, come on.
It's my daughter's friend, okay?
Oh, I would have loved it.
I'm pretty sure we can't put her on the show without a parental release.
A parental consent. Yeah, that's fine. I forgot your daughter has a landline now.
Sorry,
I forgot about that.
Also
and then I accused you of it having a 20-foot long cord, because that's what the ringer sounds like.
It's 3:32, so immediately my daughter gets phone calls after school.
Right. Hey, that's the preteen girl life, right?
She calls herself she's not even 8 yet, and she calls herself a preteen.
Wow.
She's like, technically I'm a preteen.
I mean, technically,
I guess.
I mean, that would make you a post-teen.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a post-teen.
But so what was I saying? You would essentially deposit your ETH onto the platform, and it's essentially wrapped Ethereum on Matic, right? So, but if you're buying this weekend on the drop, you're buying an ETH.
Regular ETH, no.
Yeah.
MetaMask.
You would just need, you would, you're buying through with your
I
MetaMask.
think I read it was only MetaMask, and
Correct.
There was no hardware wallet support unless you were using hardware wallet through MetaMask. That sound
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. There's no wrapped ETH hardware wallet support. Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Anyway, that might be jumping ahead, but we definitely.
I'm just asking questions that I have.
Well, no, I know it's a good question, because when you that's what happens with these games now. The blockchain games that we're seeing that are built on ETH are merging because of these gas fees, right? Like, or dying or never taking off because they're expensive to use, right? So
Right.
I think that's huge. But anyway, so Des, what kind of, on top of what you just said, what appeals to you most about this particular game, and how it might be different than some other, like your digital corgis or things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, there's your pump and dump NFTs. Oh man, shout out to crypto corgis. I don't mean this any disrespect, but that was definitely a pump and dump for me, and it worked out quite well. I mean,
You flipped some corgis, bro.
I can probably pay for a horse with the crypto corgi profit. So you never know.
That's awesome.
So, I think there are differences. We didn't even get into the breeding aspect, which is honestly where I think most of the money will be made. It's fun, it's entertaining, super entertaining to join in a race and hopefully win and be with, get in a horse with, your friends and go in and hopefully win something. But honestly, I think just like in the physical world of horse racing, most of the money is made on breeding. And so you have that same ability within Zed Run, and it's all about breeding the right combinations, a little bit of randomization thrown in there, and you can build quite a stable and quite a from what I've seen, a good return on investment in these kind of higher quality tier ponies. So
for sure, I agree with you 100%. And like I've raced 2 of my horses. I own 6 horses, and I've raced 2 of them, and I've raced them, a pretty good amount of times, and I don't have a great win percentage. Like not every horse that you get is going to win, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean, because of how the game mechanics work, that they can't breed very good horses, right? And so I kind of think of this, and we've seen these breeding games like Crypto Kitties, and Crypto Kitties was wildly popular, and there was a genetic algorithm in Crypto Kitties that, people literally spent so much time trying to figure out to breed these rare kitties, all this stuff. It's very similar here. I think this is actually a breeding game with racing as a reward, right? Like yeah. That's how I kind of view what my long-term strategy is. And so, when we talk about what the actual breakdown of this game is, why is it attractive to buy these horses on the drops and things like that? Tell us a little bit about that. What there's only a certain amount of these horses that are labeled Genesis horses, correct?
Yeah, there's 38,000 Genesis horses to ever be released. They will not be releasing any more. We aren't cool. I think last I know
after this drop, we'll be at about 11,000 that have been released.
So about a third of the way through.
Yeah,
about a third of the way through. So that's great. And they basically the information is that there's 4 tiers or classes of horse bloodlines, is what they call it, bloodlines. And there's 4 distinct ones, one being very rare, the second one being rare, third one being less rare, and the 4th one being common. And based on the rarity, there are proportions of those amount of horses. So there are, less super rare horses than there are common horses. So we'll see that play out. And, I think in general, to sum it up, any Genesis horse you buy at this point, you're getting in early, right? If there's a finite amount of resources, we all know this from crypto, if there's a finite amount of resources, as soon as those resources start, shoring up and there's not much left, they become extremely valuable. And I think that's where we're headed for
the way the breeding works, right? So like once you can't breed a Genesis horse, you can only, so at some point in the next, I would say 6 months, all these Genesis horses are going to be sold out. And what will happen then as the platform continues to grow and more people come into the game, the entry fee will either be you're paying a big premium to get a Genesis horse, or you're buying the next level down, in which the people who own Genesis horses create You know what I mean? Like you'll have to buy a bred horse, and where does that come from? And
you said Genesis horses can't be bred.
You can't make.
Oh, you can't make.
Horse.
I see what you're saying. I see.
Yeah,
but you can breed the
Correct.
horse. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So, like, if you breed 2 Genesis horses, it's called a legendary. If you
there's a floating hand in my face right now.
Floating head, floating hand. This is not going to be on video, but maybe this part will.
It's great audio.
But so if you breed 2 Genesis horses together, you get like the next level down. But essentially, for the tier, you're taking what the lowest part of that combination is, right? So if you breed a Genesis and a legendary, you get the next level down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to make the entry point, like people will either need to buy those Genesis horses for a good amount, and I imagine people will want to, right? Like there's value.
They're already doing that. I mean, I just put out, if you follow my Twitter, which is KRHFT on Twitter, I posted what people are paying on the secondary market right now for these Genesis horses. It's insane. For that lowest common quality horse, a unraced Genesis, so you buy a Genesis and you don't race it. Previously, it's cost anywhere from like $70 to $100 for a horse. It's going to be more than that this drop, I would guarantee you. But realistically, they bought it from somewhere to $70 to $100. That on the secondary market is consistently selling for $800 to $900, which is just insane.
It's so
we haven't even run out,
and they're gonna drop 1,000 tomorrow, and they're gonna drop 1,000 tomorrow. But I got to tell you, tomorrow's not going to be easy to get a horse. So if they are doing a drop tomorrow, it's if you're listening to this on in the U.S. or Canada, it's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. They're going to start dropping the horses, and they're dropping them in the tiers. So the highest priced horses are going to be at 5, then going back to every half hour till 6:30, right? So you're going to have a shot. But so check out the platform. It's called Zed Run. It's Zed.Run is the website. Also, as Des said, check out his Twitter for the best thing that Des does for the community is put out all of these analytics to help you guide your way through Top Shot and now Zed Run and Chamber. He's going to pass you in followers like tomorrow. By the way,
don't even get
I'm going to take some credit. We scooped our relationship with Des pretty early when he was like 300 followers.
We got in early on Des.
We did. See, it's all about finding that jump.
Saw the potential.
And I looked today. He's over 2,000 already. Over 2,000 followers.
No way.
Yeah. So he's going to pass you, and that's going to make you real salty. You better get your analytics game up because that's the content people want. Not like what kind of horse is goofy or whatever the hell you were trying to put out yesterday. First of all, you're wrong. It's not a cow. It's a
I never
dog.
said it was. I never said it was. I heard 2 people having the argument, and I'm like, oh, that's a funny argument. So
it's not building your followers exponentially like Des's content is.
No, not at all. And it's super like you say it's like you're breaking down the data, and when I say it like that, it sounds very dense and maybe hard to understand. It's very digestible.
Yes,
he uses very pretty colors, which is good for me. And it's you can read it and you understand it extremely easily. But it is good. It's also very, very dense data at the same time. So it's best of both worlds.
Yeah, and it's awesome. So definitely check out his.
And did I mention
Twitter
the pretty colors?
Yeah, there's lots of pretty colors.
So nice.
I'm in marketing, so I have to use.
There you go. A lot of pastels. Great.
Nice to the eyes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Chamber, you buying horses tomorrow or what?
100%. In my head, I have a certain amount of money or a certain amount of Ethereum that I have.
Double it.
It's such a irresponsible amount that I have ready, and I'm like, I can't spend all of it.
I got to tell you right now, there's a chance you won't be able to spend it all.
That's what I kind of hope happens.
Because that's what happened to me on the last drop. I had like 2 Ethereum that I was ready to like drop on this. I spent like $700 because that was all I was actually able to snag, and then I had to do some side work to acquire the rest of my horses.
Now, I got a question just in regards to the pricing.
Yeah.
Is it like we were talking earlier? Is selling for $170 or $70 to $100? You were saying, I think, for the Z10s, and the Z1s were going for, I think, like 13 grand or something like that. Does that sound about right?
Crazy amounts.
Now, is that price? Is that a USD based price?
Yes.
Or is that an Ethereum based price?
No, it's a USD based price. So, like when you go on the platform tomorrow, prices will be.
If Ethereum goes up in price,
no, it's a USD price.
Okay, and then, it's not going to affect the price of the,
which is
the
different on the secondary market. So, Matic, you see an ETH price, like because you set your price in ETH, right?
Right.
So,
right.
There is a difference there. Okay. So, like is your horse that you're putting on the secondary market worth that? Because that fluctuates with the price of ETH, right?
Gotcha.
But, tomorrow you will see a dollar amount, and it's only going to, take the ETH that current snapshot is worth, right? You know what I mean? Your current amount of ETH.
It works backwards from the dollar amount to the ETH, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Does that make sense, Chamber?
I think he froze.
He might be frozen.
Unless he's in very
deep thought. I think we broke his brain.
Unless he's in very deep thought, he is frozen.
You know what's great, Des, what's great about this is usually when it's just the two of us, I always get blamed for it. And now I can very much tell that it's not me.
It's when it's you, it's you. When it's me, it's me. All right. That time was me.
So the one thing I do want to say that we didn't touch on yet. So there is a whole other aspect of this, and it is that they're coming out with a token, and that token, ironically, is called DES. And and so that token is actually, so we were talking about earlier, the crossover between what an NFT is and what is crypto and all of that. There is actually going to be some kind of DeFi aspect to this, right? With this DES token, and owning these Genesis horses is going to get you DES tokens airdrop to you. There's going to be some kind of governance. There's talk of a DAO. And then you might be able to earn DES based on running races or essentially staking and things like that with these horses. So there is a whole DeFi aspect to this on top of you owning the actual asset, which is what I think is fascinating. And then, we didn't even touch on what the eventual plans are for the future of this, which is, partnerships with gaming companies like Atari, like the plans to put this as like the first digital sport in the metaverse, like big things, the potential to have this being gambled on in casinos, like all stuff that's kind of already in the works. But I mean, when you think about where you are right now in what the potential is, it is super early, right? Like, it's just like a land grab. Like, get yourself one of these fucking horses.
I mean, you want to talk about a global sport? Everyone always talks about soccer, even basketball now, and horse racing is extremely global, right? There are multi-million-dollar purses happening in Hong Kong almost weekly, if not monthly. You have massive $1 million races happening in developing countries like Vanuatu. I mean, seriously, it is extremely global. A lot of the big money is very interested in horse racing. And this is 2.0. So, yeah.
Pretty interesting. Chamber, you didn't even know about the DES, did you?
For those listening at home that are wondering if DES is just made up a country, I'm with you. We're gonna. I was wondering who. We're gonna research this afterwards.
Who had Vanuatu on their REKT podcast bingo card today?
First country ever featured in Survivor.
Oh, there you go. Hey, I'm a big Survivor fan. You and I are kindred spirits, Des. There
That's
you
right.
go.
You hear that,
Totally
guys?
universe.
That's the sound of me getting bumped.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming to REKT Podcast. Producer Chamber, you did a fantastic job.
Let's just sign off here, guys.
Look, we've been, Chamber and I, we've been a ticking time bomb for 2.5 years. It's been it's just
It keeps the relationship spicy.
What else you got, Chamber?
I'm trying to think if I have any more questions about Zed Run because I'm very nervous. You guys seem to already know what the plan is, and I'm ready to buy.
All right, so let's do
I have
this.
no strategy though.
Let's do this. Let's talk about a little strategy because if you hear this before tomorrow,
Because ideally
at
we're going to
5
release
p.m.
this.
Eastern,
We're going to release this
in
this
12
evening.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll have a good 24 hours.
Yes, so you'll have 24 hours before the drop to listen to this. If you are listening to this before the drop time, what should your strategy be? Again, the pricing is going to range from anywhere from $150 for that Zed 10 horse all the way up to, did you like I changed that this time, Chamber? I know.
Des, I'm going to give you a dollar amount, and you tell me how you would spend that dollar amount.
Oh, I got the strategy.
All right.
Ooh, okay, I like this game, and I'll see if I have any differing opinions.
So we'll say $5,000.
Oof.
Okay.
That's a hefty budget. That's a good budget.
So here's my
That's more
full
than
strategy.
most people. That's more than most people will be willing to put into digital
Okay.
resources.
All right.
It's the perfect amount to have
what I
a
thought,
limit
too.
to have a limited option of what to do tomorrow. You don't want too many options because then
Right.
you go crazy. So $5,000. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to log on at 2 p.m. Or a little bit before 2 p.m. Pacific, and you're going to look at the Nagamoto drop. Okay,
Right. That's gonna be
these
one.
horses are going to cost upwards of
Probably
$10,000.
Probably 16 grand for the Z1.
Yes.
We don't want
Probably
those.
around 10. You just can't afford
You
it.
don't want them, but what you're going to do, because you're smart, is you're going to use that to understand how the platform works. So you're going to get in there. You're going to click a horse. You're going to see what is available. You're going to know where to click buy next. You're going to know all this stuff. So that way,
This is
when
what I'm
it
here
comes
for.
to a drop that you can afford, then you'll be ready. So that's what you're going
I
to
was looking at the pricing.
That
I
is
feel
such
like,
great advice because
isn't that great advice?
yes, because the last time there were so many people, and if you go to Discord now, there's so many new people. Like, well, what does a drop look like? I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I don't know where to go. The way they're tiering it this time is you have time to do that. Now,
Almost like a practice
Granted,
run.
we hope their website can stay functioning.
Right.
But
And don't fat finger that transaction.
yeah, if you have that much ETH in your wallet, you better make sure you don't.
The
But
scary thing
think
is I
that's
don't
such
think
great
it's
advice.
a losing probability if
No,
you
it's
do.
not.
But,
Right, right.
But please don't fat finger 13 grand on a horse you're not prepared to buy.
But I think that's fantastic advice. All right, so now where are we buying?
Where am I making my first buy?
So now you understand how to buy it, how to quickly buy it. From
Yeah.
all the tips I've gotten on Discord, it's going to be a frenzy, especially when we get down to those lower tiers. So next is 30 minutes later, you're going to have a Zabo drop. That's the bloodline. That's what it's called, Zabo. And these ones are going to be affordable. You're going to want to grab the lowest tier possible, I think, if you can. So
Four?
it's
would be
a
a 4.
four. It's a Z4.
That's what I was thinking of getting in.
Yes. So if you can grab a Z4, do it quickly.
That'll probably cost you half your budget.
Yeah, like three. That's what I was
Exactly.
thinking, right around $3,000.
It'll probably cost
Exactly.
you around half your budget, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel good about that.
Go in. Do not spend so much time looking at the color, looking at whether it's a colt or a filly. Just
Fire.
buy it as quickly. You see a Z4, you attack it,
Oh.
you go get it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
I will say from the last drop, if you see an error that says calculating gas and it just keeps spinning, it means somebody's already purchased it. So
Great tip. Great
move
tip.
on. Like go find another one because that was part of the reason that I only got one last time because I didn't realize that. And then later on in the Discord, it meant it was already sold.
Do you know how much gold we're giving out right now?
I mean, honestly,
just giving out the money to everybody. Here, take the money, people.
not for nothing, but that's some valuable stuff. If you know how to navigate the site tomorrow, you're beating half the people. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so I totally agree with you there. Don't spend time looking for the name, because I did that last time too. Because
are they already named?
So the Genesis horses are already named.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Genesis horses are already named. Anything you breed, you can name yourself.
I see.
Yeah. So when you name one after me, it means you.
I already promised my daughter. I was talking to my daughter about these. I was showing her the other day. I told her I'd name the first one after her.
That's so sweet. Yeah. You're so sweet.
Life ruiner.
I was gonna say, when you name it College Fund, it's because you spent the entire college fund on digital horses. All right, so he's got himself a Z4. That's what he wanted. That's because that's where he said he was going. Right. What's the next move?
So if you purchase a Z4 and you got $5,000 budget, you might not be able to afford, depending on pricing, you might not be able to afford the next tier down. So let's say you get that Zabo. Mm-hmm. You're going to look at that pricing for the Finny, which is the next bloodline. Right. But if you can't afford it, then you're just going to go all in on the fourth one and try to scoop up as many Buterins, that fourth tier of bloodline, as possible.
And that's going to be what, 9 and 10s?
That's going to be 8, 9s, and 10s.
Okay, perfect.
So my guess would be if you buy a 4, you'll be able to afford at least a 6 if you wanted to go 2 horses, right, with your $5,000 budget, and then maybe 1 Buterin if you're quick enough, if you are able to do that, right? So like if you wanted to spend $5,000 on 3 horses, a 4, a 6, and a 10 will probably get you there, right?
Gotcha.
But I think just based on the pricing that I've seen, predictions
that sounds good.
Seen. Yeah,
now, should I get a 4 and maybe more 10s or some 9s and 10s?
So now you're going into some strategy, right? Like some people do say that building an army of 10s is the way to go. Now, here's what I'll say about this particular drop. There's going to be 1,050 10 or Buterins total available, right? And there's going to be well over 2,000 people trying to get these. So it's going to be, in my opinion, play in the high end of the budget, I think, because you want to, there's going to be so much more volume of people trying for that lower end tier. Right. Would you agree there, Des?
Bunchu, did you just drop like the biggest knowledge bomb known to man for this? Do you know the number of Buterins available?
Yes, I do.
I mean, this podcast
there's 1,050 Buterins of all types. Yes.
They only have 24 hours to consume it.
So let's think about it. The that's half the drop is Buterins, right? Wow. So and all the new people, they're not going to go spend $5,000 on a horse. They're going to want to try to scoop up a couple $100 horses, right? So my strategy is kind of use the top end of my budget and play there, right? Even if it's only 1 or 2. And then, you might get, like, depending on your appetite, you can go buy a Buterin on a secondary market afterwards if you want. I just think if you have a little bit of a budget, you're going to be disappointed if you're just waiting to try to scoop up 3 or 4 10s.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Because there's just going to be too many people. And I think that's the problem. Right. So now also just another piece of strategy, right? After this drop, we said there's going to be maybe 11,000 that have been dropped out of the 38,000 total. However, there's only going to be around 25% of the remaining Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 left, right?
Right.
But there's 72% of the entire population left. So what that means to me is now's the time to grab your higher end horse, because as these drops get further and further along, the volume of horses they're going to be dropping of this higher end is low. They'll be gone first. And then it'll thin out with the lower end. So you'll have time to try to scoop Buterins later, but you may not have time to scoop your Z4 later.
Agreed.
I think that's the spot to stop. I think that's your knowledge. If you can consume this before 5 p.m. tomorrow, I think
I'll even put out a tweet for people.
We have to put this in the Zed Discord. This is serious gold.
Yeah, I mean, we'll ruin our whole strategy. That's
put
okay.
it out in there. maybe on Saturday.
We're a pot of the people, guys. We're a pot of the people.
That is true. That is true. We're out here delivering the gold. But now I'm going to get blown out of my Z4 buy. So, but
there might be technical difficulties in editing this one. I'm not sure.
There might be technical difficulties on the site. We don't know. Like it's
a good point.
There's let's see. Right this second, there are 1,953 active people.
That number
online.
just keeps going up.
Right, and there's only 2,000 horses, and that's only what's online right now, and that you have no idea about anybody who's just not maybe Discord savvy. That's just going to try tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, so it's going to be difficult. Don't be upset if you didn't get one. There will be more drops. Don't go overpay astronomically. There will be more drops. Like I said, 72% still left to be dropped out of these Genesis horses. Right. I mean, the hype is real, but don't go be crazy. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to go drop 10 grand.
I feel like you're saying be crazy.
Look, I don't think you can get a losing proposition if you just buy one of these horses no matter what and hold it. Like, there's a whole different strategy we can go into on whether you should race the horse or not, depending on what level you end up buying. I think if you can snag yourself some lower end, go ahead and race them and learn the game. If you end up spending up, I think you should spend some time learning the game first and not racing them right away.
Don't you race that Z4?
Would you agree, Des?
Yes, 100%.
Ultimately, I think they're all. Right. Ultimately, I think they're all meant to be raced, but you need to understand what you're looking for when you're racing and how to race and all that kind of stuff. Tomorrow's just grab your land. You know what I mean? Like grab your asset and then learn, right? That's what I think. What do you think, Chamber?
I'm excited. That's all I can tell you.
Are we all going to get horses? By the way, I got a Top Shot pack that I didn't open yet. So
I didn't even know there was a drop today.
I tried to tag you.
You did. I just got in late. I got like 132. It was sad.
Brutal. All right. That is going to do it for us. So, Des, thank you so much for coming on. You can find Des on the Mint Condition with us pretty much every week at this point. So, Des, tell the people where to find you again on Twitter and anywhere else you want to be found.
Sure. Twitter is simple. It's 5 letters, KRHFT. What I will say is if you're going to tune into any Mint Condition show, next week is going to be awesome. We're going to be doing a live race with our horses for the first time, and it's going to be an exciting episode. So tune in next Monday to the Mint Condition.
Sweet.
I forgot about that too. You said it. You started talking like, what's happening next week? I completely forgot about what we were racing. I even got excited. So if I'm getting excited, you should absolutely getting excited. So.
Go follow Des. Give him more followers than Chamber. Give Chamber something to be real salty about.
I'll reluctantly put his Twitter in the description.
He's going to have more. Well, first he's got to pass me, but that'll happen any day. I only have like.
No, that's going to take a while.
No, he might pass you and me on the same day.
He probably will.
If he passes you in the morning, he'll pass me in the evening.
That's what we're hoping for.
We only want the best for Des.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you for listening. We want to get this out so you can be prepared for tomorrow if you want to participate in this drop. And until next time, don't get wrecked. And that is financial advice.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. You can help support us by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and become a REKT patron by signing up for a monthly tier on Patreon.com. That's patreon.com/REKT podcast. Don't get wrecked.